Hi there. Today we're going to be writing equations. Last time we wrote equations given a y-intercept. Today we're going to talk about how to write equations if we are not given the y-intercept. So let's go ahead and begin. Just to review one last time, remember that slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. And any linear equation can be written in this format. Well, what do we do if we have a slope and a point but no y-intercept? We can figure out what the y-intercept is. We're going to talk about two different methods that we can use, and you're welcome to choose which one works best for you. So the first method is called point-slope form. In order to write an equation in point-slope form, the two things that we need are at least one point. If we are giving two, we're just going to choose one of them, and a slope. And my formula is as follows: y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Notice the things that are highlighted in different colors are the things that I am going to be replacing. The things that are in black are going to remain the same for each and every equation. So let's go ahead and try doing this. So the steps of point-slope form are as follows. I'm going to start with the equation y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So y minus, now remember on that last slide where I had those things highlighted, I'm going to leave those spots blank. I bet I can figure out what y1 is. I can figure out what m is, x minus, and I can figure out what x1 is. So we're going to go ahead and plug in those blank spots. Well, here is m. It is -2. And notice it's right here in my equation. So -2 goes there. X1 and Y1 are coming from my ordered pair. Here's X and here's Y. And this is my first and only point. So that is X1 and Y1. So let's go ahead and fill this out. Y1, okay, minus -3, and X1 over here. Notice that there are these subtraction signs. Make sure that they are subtraction and not addition, because over here, I need to make sure that I have subtract a negative so that I can simplify it to plus 3 equals -2x minus 1. After I plug in each of these numbers, I am going to solve for y to put my final answer in slope-intercept form. So let's go ahead and do that. To put my answer in slope-intercept form, I am going to begin by distributing. -2x plus 2 equals y plus 3. My last step is to get y by itself, and so I'm going to minus 3. Now, if you're wondering what I should minus 3 from, I am going to minus 3 from my constant. That means my final answer, let's zoom in a little bit, maybe. My final answer is y is equal to -2x minus 1. Now, the second method is called the B method, and we're going to go ahead and use the same example, and so I can highlight the differences. So with the B method, I start with the slope-intercept equation, just like I want for my final answer. And I'm going to leave those few spots blank again. Y equals mx plus b. Now, my second step is to plug in my slope for m. I know what my slope is. It tells me. So I'm going to plug that in. Now, I don't know what b is. So instead of plugging something in for b, I'm going to rewrite it as b. The third step is to plug in the x value for the x and the y value for the y. This is my x value and this is my y value. I'm going to plug the y value into the y and the x value into the x. So what does that look like? -3 is equal to -2 times 1 plus b. Next step is to solve for b. -2 times 1 is -2 plus b equals -3. I'm going to continue to solve for b by adding 2 to both sides, and I can see that b is equal to -1. Now, we're not done. We just figured out what the y-intercept is, but we want to be able to write a linear equation. So I'm going to go back to my equation and rewrite a y, don't rewrite the -3 in there, make sure it's a y, equals, for all equations, for this equation, my slope is -2, x, notice that it's an x, not a number, and then my y-intercept, -1. If you notice, my equations match. Both of these methods will work for every type of problem, every single problem. So it's just up to you which type you would prefer. And I'm going to alternate back and forth between these two different methods as we go through the rest of our examples so that you can see which one you like better. And try the second example. I'm going to try using the point slope form method first. So to begin with, I always need my point slope formula. I'm going to write that down so that I have access to it. You can constantly refer back to this as you're learning. Y minus, hey, let's identify our x1 and our y1 so we can use those. Y1, so -8, means I'm going to add 8, equals my slope, 1/2, parentheses, x minus x1, so x minus 4. Notice when I plugged in my negative, I got a +8, and when I plugged in my positive, it still stayed minus. Make sure yours did too. Distribute. Okay, my goal is now to find my slope-intercept form. 1/2 times -4 is -2, y plus 8. And then my last step is to minus 8 from both sides. Y equals 1/2 x minus 10. And just to demonstrate that b method one more time, that's going to look like y equals 1/2 x plus b. Because I don't know what my y-intercept is, I would plug in my x and y values. -8 is equal to 1/2, I keep the slope the same, 4 plus b, and solve. 1/2 times 4 is 2, plus b equals -8, and to solve I would minus 2 from both sides. -8 minus 2 is -10. There's my y-intercept. My slope is 1/2. Y equals 1/2 x minus 10. Again, choose which method you like. All right, let's write an equation that goes through 2 points. This is going to be a little bit different because I'm not given my slope. My first step is to calculate that. No matter which method I use, I need to calculate the slope. So my second y value is 4 minus a -2 divided by 1 minus 3. Make sure you subtract in the same order each time. Equals plus 6 over 1 minus 3 is -2, which simplifies to a slope of -3. I just identified my slope as -3. Let's go ahead and use our b method for this example. I'm going to start with my slope-intercept form. Y equals, I know that my m is -3, x plus, and I don't know what my y-intercept. Neither of these two values have an x value of 0. So I'm going to rewrite it as b. My next step is to replace x and y with a point. Now notice I have two options. It does not matter which option you choose. Some people will automatically pick this top one because it's my first point, but it doesn't matter. Personally, I would choose the bottom point as there's no negatives. I think negatives make things cleaner and simpler. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to choose this as my point. This is my x and this is my y that I'm going to use to figure out what b is. So 4 is equal to -3 times 1 plus b, and solve. -3 plus b equals 4, plus 3 plus 3. 4 plus 3 is 7. b equals 7. So what did I just find out? I just found out that my y-intercept is 7. So let's go ahead and write our final equation. And I can do that because I have my m and my b. Y equals negative 3x plus 7. And that is my final answer. Let's write an equation that goes through these 2 points. Now notice this is written in function notation. So the first step is to convert. I have negative 1, 0, and 3, negative 2. Now don't be fooled. The first point is not my y-intercept. Remember, x has to be 0. And neither of these x values are 0, so I don't have my y-intercept. No matter which method I choose first, I need to calculate my slope. So negative 2 minus 0 divided by 3 minus negative 1 equals negative 2 over addition 4. So my slope is negative 1/2. I'm going to go ahead and use the slope point slope formula this time. Again, remember it's y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. Let's go ahead and plug in all of our information. Here we go. Y minus, now remember, y1 is representing a point. So I'm going to go ahead and choose one of the points. I'm going to go ahead and use this second point. It doesn't matter which one. Let's go ahead and use that. So y minus negative 2 means I'm going to add 2 equals m. What's my m? I just calculated it. This is my m, negative 1/2, x minus x1. My x1 for the point that I chose was 3. Let's go ahead and distribute. This is going to remain the same. Negative 1/2 x. A negative times a negative is a positive. And remember, when you times a fraction to a whole number, you just times the numerator by 3. So 1 times 3 is 3 and divided by 2. And I cannot simplify that. So plus 3 over 2. Final step is to minus that 2. I'm going to go ahead and minus, and I end up with y equals negative 1/2 x. This can be simplified. 3/2 minus 2 is negative 1/2. Feel free to use your calculator to check your answer. Finally, let's make sure we understand how to write tables. Now, this is a story problem, but the steps are going to be the same. But let's see what we're doing. So the student council is ordering customized foam hands to promote school spirit. The table shows the cost of ordering different numbers of foam hands. Can the situation be modeled by a linear equation? Explain. If possible, write the linear equation. Now remember, not all relationships are linear. In order to determine if something is linear, from a table, I'm going to calculate my rate of change. This is adding 2. This is adding 2. This is adding 2. So notice my rate of change is being constantly adding 2 for the x value. And as I look at my y value, I am adding 12 plus 12 plus 12 plus 12. And as that rate of change stays the same, I do know that this is linear. So I can write an equation. Y is equal to mx plus b. Now I don't know my y-intercept. So remember Stop, buddy. So remember I have two different options. I can use the b method or I can use my slope-intercept form. I'm going to go ahead and use the b method. As the last one, I use this point slope form. So go ahead and calculate your slope to begin with. No matter what method I choose, I need to calculate my slope. Okay, this is x1, this is x2, this is y1, this is y2. Now 46 minus 34 is 12, just like I was calculating, and 6 minus 4 is 2, just like I calculated here. So my slope is 6. So 6x plus, I don't know what my y-intercept value is. I don't have a 0 value, so I'm going to write plus b. To finish, I'm going to pick a ordered pair. I'm going to pick the smallest ordered pair to plug in. 4 is my x value, so 6 times 4 plus b is equal to my y value, which is 34. Multiply, 24 equals 34. So 24 plus b equals 34. Now if I solve for b, I'm going to minus 10 on both, minus 24 on both sides. And I get a grand total of 10. So please remember that that's not your final answer. I want to write a linear equation that models that relationship. So y equals 6x, and my y-intercept is 10, so plus 10.